Abdul's just decided that this is quite literally a prison match, and he's gone for prison rules.
Don't wait for me, 'cause I keep breathing fire. I won't wait for you, 'cause you keep telling lies. I keep going high, she keeps going low. At the end of the day, she's gone. But you don't wait for me, 'cause I keep breathing fire. And I keep going high, she keeps going low. At the end of the day, she's gone. But you don't wait for me, 'cause I keep breathing fire. And you keep telling lies.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Outcast 2 Icons with me, a man who, as much as he tries to resist an asymmetric system, is always just drawn back in. More on that in a minute. As always, if you're enjoying things, of course, drop a like. That would be fantastic. Honestly, the support that you've shown on the series so far is actually overwhelming, so thank you. And hopefully we can keep that going and have a bloody lovely time with it, because I am too. And that was really what I wanted from this save. Just fun stuff. And what more can you ask for, really, in the North Macedonian 2nd Division, where the finances are bad and the profit is worse? I had really not anticipated just how bad and how difficult it was going to be to try to formulate a team in a transfer window in this league. I'm used to doing some lower league management stuff, and usually it's like, there's tons of players available. You just bring some in on trial, do a little bit of scouting, get rid of some players, change the contracts around, you're good to go. It has been anything but easy during this period to make that happen. The board have not helped. I don't blame them. The money's not great, but Jesus, they've made it hard for me. So essentially, the situation is this. We may be part-time, but they are treating me like I am an amateur manager, and I don't know where they get that idea. I can think of a few places. So essentially, due to the financial situation, the board basically won't let me put players on even part-time contracts. They have to be on non-contract only. And not only that, when it came to renewing players' contracts, because of course they were only 1 year, they all had to go on to part-time contracts too, which means that essentially every player that we've brought in is now on a non-contract with appearance fees and stuff like that, but it means they're unprotected. And basically the entire squad from last year, those of them that stuck around, bastards, are also on now non-contract basis. There have been some players that have mutinied and left. More on those guys in a minute, because they're dead to me. But they've been replaced with better, upgraded options. I've changed some stuff about the tactic, building on what we kind of created accidentally during the last game of last season. Think about I found something that works in the friendlies. That's really hard to say how well it's going to work, but we've got a cup game today, our first game of the season, to test that out in before we actually get cracking in the league stuff next time around. Still some transfers I'm working on, but for now, I feel like we've signed enough players to sort of tide us over. Still looking at a few more. Some players have left. We kind of had to. It was an absolute minefield trying to sign players in this league. Without further ado, let's jump into the players that have left, and then I'll try and show you some of the new boys. So, to the surprise of no one, Sasso Jareski has left and also retired, and has now become, amazingly, a head of youth development. As long as he keeps them away from jet skis, it's fine. Alton Loga also left. He said that our club didn't match his ambitions. Presumably his ambition was to be unemployed, because he's working that one fantastically right now. I honestly might try and sign him back again. And lastly, Rylan Dauti, the man who made a slight appearance towards the end in the last game of it, has also retired as well. So a lot of players, we had quite an aging squad, so they've all left they've been released essentially. Not that I had much choice in the matter. In addition to that, a quite highly rated young goalkeeper we had, David Miladinov, left to join, who was it he joined actually? Detonit Jr. Nothing we could do about it again because of the contract situation. So he went, he was happy to go. And then sad news in that Nui Jonas, the man with the Ziga energy, left to go to Pobeda in the division above us because they were able to offer him money. And that's something we don't have. But it was really, it was a bit of a shame, really, because I'd given him a new contract, and it was actually on more money if you count the appearance fees than he's on there. But I think he just wanted the job security, and then the problem with the unprotected contracts is that the moment you sign them, they can still come in and try and take them. As much as you try and offer them back, usually they're a right to stay. Jonas was not having it, which is a shame, because that was both goalkeepers that decided to leave. And annoyingly, Samid Kadriovski also decided to leave, this time to join Metallurg Skopje. And again, you can see £160 a week. I mean, that is the kind of money that we can only dream of offering players now. Oh, boy. So, yeah, that's not great, because that was both our strikers, both our goalkeepers. We were in a bit of a pickle, it would be have to said. Luckily, that wasn't even a proper sentence. I was able to bring in a decent number of players, still got some more in the works, so hopefully things can work. First up on the chopping block is Christian Teseski, who I'm genuinely quite pleased with. Now, the game rates him at 4-star with 5-star current ability. I'm a big fan. You know, sorry for all the attribute analysis. I'm just covering up the comparison so it doesn't spoil some of the players we've got in the club here. So he's a sort of left-sided / left-back type of player. So he could play up here if we needed him to, but he could also do a job back here as well. With his good passing, good technique, crossing and dribbling, and he's only 17 as well. For this level, isn't even that bad. He's got a bit of pace about him, 6'1" as well to go with that. He does lack in the tackling and the marking and all of the defensive side of things, to be honest, but at least he could do a job going forward. And to be honest, a chance to pick a player of this kind of quality up relatively cheaply because of his age was a bit of a no-brainer for me. So actually, the first signing we made was pretty solid. There was also Andrzej Stojcewski who left. He was on loan here, but his contract was ended, and I thought, oh, perfect, he can come back. He did an okay job in the 3 games we saw, but no, he had other ideas, and he chose to join our local rivals Ohrid. Well, I hope he has a jet ski accident. Next up is a player more for the future, but there was still an option there to bring him in. So Filip Likowski. You'll notice that a lot of the players are either have decent potential, not that we're really going to probably see much of that, but have some okay current ability to go with it as well. Decent crossing, decent dribbling was the main reason I was looking at him. Passing of 10 as well. You'll understand why when we talk about tactics in a minute. Lacks a bit of pace, but he does have the acceleration. He is also 6'5", so he's basically a right-wing giraffe, is the best way to describe Filip Likowski. So he's in as well. Again, all of these guys are on non-contracts but do have appearance fees to go with it, so some of them are on more, some of them are on less. You know the drill. So we've actually managed to help the finances somewhat by doing that, but the board don't care. Next, I tried to at least bring in a right back. The first attempt at that was this lad. This is Zivko Dimitrov. Again, one of those players that's more about potential really than anything else. Lacks the technical ability as far as going forward, but 11 tackling, it's okay, I suppose. Decently speedy, though. Like, good acceleration and good pace to go with it, but there's always going to be problems in this league. You're just not going to get good quality players in this division. And I feel like he's okay. I think we have found better, though, later on. As we also brought in Borsa Makasowski. Again, apologies for the name pronunciations. The aim with this was essentially because we liked what we saw from a slightly more advanced player in this attacking midfield role in that end of that match, and I did want to try and persist with something like that. He was again more a player for the future that just looked okay, and we could get him incredibly cheap. We signed a lot of players. We've basically overhauled the entire squad, basically from top to bottom, because we had no choice. And in a similar vein, we did try to bring in a striker. This was Baksim Llama, although I'm just going to call him the Llama. 13 finishing, so that's the main draw, because you just can't get lucky to get much more than that at this point. Okay acceleration, natural fitness is fine, composure sucks, but again, at this division, it is so difficult to find players. My scout, and I say singular, because we only have one, and the board won't let me hire anymore, despite the ability being there. I wasn't even able to do any proper scouting because by the time he'd bring a report back, he'd bring me a report for like 2 players in like 2 weeks, meaning that we basically couldn't scout anybody either. So I had to basically do the idea of just bringing players in on trial, having a look at them myself and just going, is he going to be okay? Did we just pad the squad out a little bit? Because we were really struggling for talent and just general squad depth. And I think we have at least solved that, but they're not great. Although, a player that I am genuinely quite pleased with is Arseny Galushko, a Belarusian, amazingly, who just randomly was there. And I was like, you know what? Screw it, let's try and bring him in. Now, the main reason I actually brought him in the end was actually less to do with his attributes, although he does have some okay attributes. Crossing of 11, dribbling of 12, which is not bad at all, really. Passing of 12, work rate, technique, not bad for this level, particularly as an 18-year-old as well. The main reason I brought him in, honestly, was, although for some reason, it's because he was on trial, technically then, yeah. He was in on trial. I put him into a friendly and he scored like a hat-trick and assisted the other 2 goals as well, I think, with a new sort of style idea. And I felt like he basically just fit what we wanted to do perfectly. So I was like, you know what? Let's not beat around the bush. Let's just get him in. If he plays that well in the league, maybe we've got ourselves a player here. Next up is our new goalkeeper, Martin Davkov, another one of these players that played in a few friendlies for me before we actually brought him in permanently. And we just desperately needed a goalkeeper. He's around about the same kind of quality level. Might even be slightly better than Jonas, honestly. I don't think it's the end of the world. And he's got 6 free kicks. We could make something of that, right? So yeah, he's come in. He's an okay goalkeeper. Like reflexes of 13, handling of 13, command of area of 11. They're not awful. One-on-ones of 8 is a bit bad, but again, you can't be picky at this level. Albudan Imiri, he's not a left-back. The game would like you to believe he is a left-back, but with that kind of crossing and dribbling, he is not a left-back. He is very much a centre-back option, but he is only 5'11" with 8 jumping reach. It really is so hard to find players in this level, because the amount of... There was only basically 100 players I could even pick from. Most of them weren't good enough, as you will imagine. So he was the best we could do in that area. There was an Armenian guy who was definitely better, but he chose to join a much better side. As you would imagine. He joined like an Austrian 3rd division side, which I'm guessing is way better than us. Then we have another left-sided option in Ilya Ristevski, who was playing in a few friendlies on trial, has some okay physicals, some okay mentals, crossing and dribbling aren't spectacular. He's more one of these players, again, that we can just operate on this left-hand side no matter what. Like, obviously, he'd be on his wrong foot playing as an inside forward, but I've actually found that they're okay. You just have to prepare for the fact that they are going to be on their wrong foot, essentially. It's not as bad as I've had experience with this with Bolton, and it just wasn't as bad as I expected it to be with my inverted wing backs. Then we've also got Bilal Issini, who is another left-back option, once again, just because we needed more bodies on the pitch. And again, he's a solid player that could do a job for us. Now, he is a right-footed player, so I'm going to try and retrain him here, but it really was a case of beggars can't be choosers, and I just needed bodies in this team. So hopefully, when it comes to the first match of the season, we'll have some kind of squad assembled. But it really was that difficult. And I relished that in a way, so I'm not that too bothered about it. And there will be still a few more players joining us before the end of the transfer window, worry not. Next up is a striker, Tommy Jankolovski, who, again, nothing spectacular here. 13 finishing, 13 first touch. He's a striker. That's about it, really. 6'2", has a bit of height. Next up is another player who's just Hristijan Nikolovsky. Again, it's just bodies for depth in this right-hand side. There was a guy I really liked on the right-hand side, but again, sadly chose to join another side, which is always going to be a problem when you're a club like us, quite frankly. And last of the players I've signed right now is one I'm actually fairly pleased with, is David Manasiewski, who, you know, he's not 14 passing, isn't too bad. The 9 vision obviously lets him down a bit, but he's not awful for that central midfield role, particularly at a 19 years old. Good acceleration to go with it. It's the best we can really come up with. And that currently completes the roster of new players. I think it was about 15 in there, weren't there? So that's the current situation. There'll probably be some more to show you in the next video as well, because why not? It's going to get tough. But you know what? If it wasn't tough, it wouldn't be quite as fun now, would it? Given that our ground essentially just looks like a prison wreck yard, I've essentially treating this as such. The players that are gone, they were literally released back into the world, back into, they've done their time, and now they're gone. But this is our new intake of inmates. They're footballing criminals. We're basically reconstructing Mean Machine. So today, in our in our cup match, we're unfortunately playing a team in the same tier of the league as us. I believe they're in the other sort of sector of it in terms of geographics. Tactically, this is essentially what I ended up with. It's mad, I know, but that's just how we roll. Based off of the way we finished that last game, I took a lot of that into this and then just tried to sort of make it work better. Now, the offset striker thing is essentially just to sort of provide cover in certain positions, and I found that moving Jankolovsky when I did this to that offset striker role, when I did it, he scored a hat-trick in like 20 minutes, which was kind of nuts. And the same kind of situation with Galushko. When I made him an inside forward and started focusing play purely down the right-hand side, as you'll see here, and turned a lot of this stuff off, just down to basics, it suddenly just made way more sense. So essentially our plan is this. Building up down this right-hand side, slowly but surely, occasionally get some stuff through the middle. I know he's a threat, but at the moment, that was just the best option for us currently. There's no way we're actually going to persist with that long term. That's essentially the plan. Get those balls to the back post to get Galushko into those positions when Jankolovsky can't. When we are attacking down the left-hand side, Jankolovsky is essentially going to act like that back post header. That's the plan anyway, because he does have that aerial presence. So we'll do a selection advice, obviously. Switch some stuff around a little bit. Bring Abdul in. So of the new players that are starting, it's 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of them. Most of them, you might say. But at the very least now, we can field a full bench and a bit more beyond that as well, which is kind of what I wanted. So I will be doing that from now on. We've got options now, hopefully. How well this shape is going to work when we actually take it into full-on competitive matches, I really don't know, but you don't know unless you try, and that's what we're going to do today. Obviously, I can't replace my assistant, because I'm afraid if I sack him, the ball won't let me have another one, and then I'll have to be my own assistant, and that's just effort, innit? I can't make myself coffee. I don't think I changed much else tactically other than turning off pass into space, because we lack the speedy strikers to get in behind anyway, trying to focus on more patient build-up. This, I think, is all exactly the same, and I think I also knocked the line of engagement back 1 notch to keep things a bit simpler when we're out of possession, so just kind of stay and press a little bit if you feel like it. I always have a great time trying stuff out like this, so I'm willing to give it a crack, because at the end of the day, FM's supposed to be fun, and that's the kind of atmosphere I want to create here. So, it's less fun when you get thumped 9-0 in the cup, of course, but let's hope that doesn't happen, eh? They're at least a little bit more on my team. And the other thing is, it turns out I'd set up our attacking corners wrong last season, albeit over 3 games, and I was aiming the ball in the wrong position for some reason. So that's now been rectified. Hopefully, we can benefit from some attacking set pieces. So, off we go. We're in the rec yard. Tikvez Penitentiary, no doubt, have come to visit Vileshta to hopefully get beaten by us, you'd imagine. So hopefully this attitude will be carrying forward. So I noticed we were very creative in in the friendlies I was testing this in. Not always as defensively stable as we showed towards the end of last season, but definitely way better going forward. And I feel like one of the issues we had in those games was just a sheer lack of creativity. Jankolovsky was through, and that was actually a chance, amazingly. It's been a slow start to the match from us so far, but we're offering... Oh, you silly, silly man. Abdul's just decided that this is quite literally a prison match, and he's gone for prison rules. Well, we were playing okay. Yeah, have to do that quite simply. Although, no, Luma can't... Or can... No, Luma's not on the team. Never mind. Oh, dear. That was the last thing we needed. Do not let this throw you away from what I think is still a solid idea. We had a few little sniffs before that situation, but I do believe that Abdul might have just binned us out the cup, and I'm worried the board won't be best pleased with us going out the very first round. Maybe they'll understand because we're playing a team at a similar level, whipped through, and the goalkeeper pounces on it. Clipped it through. That's a bit wide. He shouldn't be able to score from that angle, and he doesn't. Davkov's there with a strong stop. Fairly tight first half, but we're actually kind of holding our own considering we've had 10 men for the last 20 minutes. Okay, so we're going to try that for the second bit, although maybe it would be better us just going more basic for the second half. Because at this point, we're not going to gain much tactically out of this if we don't just try to be a bit more sensible. Pretend that was just a practice with that tactical idea. We'll try it out properly when we got 11 men available. Right now, we just need to move to something a little bit more defensively stable or just something that makes a bit more sense for the players right now. Okay, a bit of a breakaway here for Tikvesh. What I'd say about them so far, though, is that despite us having 10 men, they haven't threatened that much, which I've now jinxed, of course, as they will now inevitably score directly from this play. No, good save, Davkov. Well played, mate. Well played. I'm not sure what the rules are in this division. Sorry, in the cup. Oh my god. We may not need to find out. It's offside anyway. Yeah, I don't know if there's extra time, replays, or what. Golden goal? Bronze goal? I'm not even sure what bronze goal would entail. If you have a shot, you win? I don't know. Although, it's a bit, if we could just find the run. There isn't a run, really. That's the problem. Bit of space in the centre of midfield, though. He's gone across the ball to Velkovsky. Can we slip a ball through? Lama's through! Oh, and a good chance there. Wow, we actually could have won that in the 92nd minute. Do worry, though, that extra time might be a bridge too far for us. But you never know. It only takes one moment of magic from someone in this team. Striker, not the tallest, does actually win the ball, though. Spirkowski, the hero of last season. One of the few players that are still here. They are starting to pepper us a bit more with some shots. Uh-oh. Sokolov, come on, Davkov, do your thing, buddy. Good save. Maybe a cheeky little chance for us, perhaps. Maybe. That's them, isn't it, Matt? What are you even talking about? I saw a player called Velkovsky and I assumed it was our player because I'm an idiot. Oh, Vileshta 0, Tikvesh 1, and they finally break us down after 116 minutes, most of which we've played with 10 men. Oh, it was Varilovsky, not Velkovsky. I did get a bit confused there for a second. I was just restarting the face cam. Oh, God. Well, it's a good effort. Goalkeeper does get a hand to it, but it's not enough, and it looks like we are heading out of the cup 1-0. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Oh. What a highlight! Show me more! Oh, that's going to make match of the day. Or North Macedonian match of the day. Do they have match of the day? Unfortunately. And it's going to be a real problem unless we've won a free kick here. But I'll give you a free kick, but you'd be damned if you're taking it. A fairly even game overall, actually. They had a lot more shots, but we had a higher quality of chance throughout. But I mean, Abdul screwed us with that red card. I think we were playing okay up until that point, and even after that, still managed to put out some okay performances, particularly Anrushi with his 7.5 and Davkov, but in the end, we fell a little bit short there. Hard to say much about that just because of the red card being so early. They've robbed us, and they leave the prison with a single point. They haven't actually robbed us, really, to be honest. Gostovar won 9-0. Can we have him? I'd like him. He scored 8 goals. Can we borrow him, please? Banned for 1 match. Something tells me that might get extended. 3rd round minimum. They're not going to like that, are they? So now that you can actually see our friendlies running out, you can see that we had a draw there, but we were massively the better side. Some really strong performances. This game, I didn't actually manage it. I'd let the assistant take over. See what happens there. Because by that point, I was pretty happy with the tactics. So, next episode, we'll start off with the derby away at Ohrid with our former player starting in their midfield. The battle will be immense. And I don't know what else we're going to do in that episode because it's hard to work out where this league really goes. Hopefully, though, we can start off with a bang and look a lot better than we did in that game. If it's one thing I've noticed, you can see we're actually scoring a decent number of goals in these friendlies against sides that are kind of similarly matched to us in many ways. They may not always be in the same division, but some of them were pretty close to us, and we were pretty comfortably better in most games. So hopefully we can carry that into the new season. If you have enjoyed this, and I honestly really hope you have, drop a like on the video. That would be superb. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. That would be brilliant as well. I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so go follow over there, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the derby against Ohrid. Is that an owl or a fish? It's a fish on their logo. Ah, dear. I'll see you guys for that. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.
Gone.